Welcome back to the show. We got stablecoin legislation becomes law. You're going to see it, but what about the market infrastructure bill? We've got a date on that. Somebody wrote that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.93 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off 5% at the moment here going into the weekend. Doesn't it make sense? We had some most historic news of the stablecoin bill, the Genuis Act, signed into law yesterday. And of course, the market's down. Bitcoin 118,000 plus, Ethereum 3,500 plus. XRP still holding down the number 3 spot at 341. Now we're off 2.5 on the 24. We're still up 22.8 on the 7-day. The range of price here between 336 and 353. So we're coming up off the floor overnight. So we'll keep an eye on it. But what I want to tell you about is Caleb and Brown, ladies and gentlemen, and you can go to XRPwealth589.com. XRPwealth589.com. In case you're driving, that's a great way to remember it. Or just click the link underneath the video and get started today. Caleb and Brown offers all kinds of assets that you may be looking for, as well as institutional grade custody for free, no hidden fees, no hidden spreads, and I tell you, multiple layers of securities that anyone would expect. But then they have another angle too. It's human customer service to a level that you cannot find in this space anywhere else, bar none. It's a fact, Jack. If you find it, come back and let me know where you found it. Because the reality is I keep my assets spread across multiple platforms for safety. And I try to highlight the ones that I'm using for all of you. And that's exactly what DAI and I have done here. And we're doing it with others as well. But this is a trusted solution for us. It can be one for you too. Open your free account today. Click the link below to get started. Right here, the news is going down yesterday. President Trump signed the Genuis Act into law at the White House at 2:30 yesterday afternoon. And what a sight it was. Let's hear these words from President Trump.
Are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear.
Now, we're talking about the Genuis Act, stablecoin bill becoming law. And what's the first thing he talks about? Our payment system is antiquated and vulnerable. How many years have we been talking about this and having this conversation on this channel? And now the president is acknowledging there's a huge reason for this bill becoming law.
Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade.
Bingo.
Using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after I really met you for the first time? The Genuis Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets backed one-for-one with real U.S. dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. It's really strengthening the dollar and giving the dollar great prominence. And, you know, you have this little group called BRICS. It's fading out fast. But BRICS is, they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar, and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%. And they had a meeting the following day, and almost nobody showed up. They said, leave me alone. They didn't want to be tariffed, did they, Howard? Huh?
No, they did not. And you know what? And again, how long have we been talking about the BRICS coalition and the pressure that it puts on the United States, whether they liked it or not? Everything in this clip is acknowledging that we've been on top of exactly what we believed we should be on top of. We're interpreting everything geopolitically and with our financial system exactly the way the current president is interpreting it. That's not bad for all of us. Attaboys for every one of us. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the signing itself. The golden age of America is upon us. Take a watch here.
This is not an auto pen, by the way. Which is a big scandal.
Oh, boy.
If that were a Republican, it would really be a big scandal. But it is one of the great scandals of our time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Look at the face of Senator Haggerty right there. I mean, that is a face of elation right there. That's unbelievable. I mean, listen, I'm so grateful, proud, and happy to be an American patriot right now. This was a bipartisan effort, too, by the way. So let's not throw it all on the right side. We had a lot of people on the left vote this thing in, too. So a lot of them voted no, but we had enough, right? And we need to acknowledge that because it is going to take a joint effort going forward. We're not done, but this is a hell of a start, ladies and gentlemen. Years we've been waiting for this. David Sacks' speech after signing the Genius Act, establishing U.S. crypto dominance. This is a very, very powerful 2 minutes. I want you to listen to this.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you, President Trump. It's a great honor to be here, and it's true that I never expected to work in government at all, and then everything changed after President Trump came on my podcast, and I accepted this job as crypto czar because I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for a president who really wants to get things done for the American people, and if anything, that's been an understatement. The first 6 months of this administration have been more successful than any administration in American history. What's been done? It's just been incredible. President Trump has worked at tech speed. We're used to working fast in Silicon Valley, but even this is fast for us in Silicon Valley, the speed at which you move, President Trump. It's really incredible. And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, is U.S. dollar dominance.
Remember that he said that.
This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump.
Amen.
And there's just a few other people I'd like to thank. First, my family for being here. Thank you. And Bo Hines, who President Trump mentions, the director of our crypto council, he really did the heavy lifting here. So, Bo, I just want to thank you again. And my chief of staff, Tracy Johnson, as well, who also does the heavy lifting. And Bill Haggerty and French Hill and all the congressmen and senators who have already been mentioned by President Trump, so I'll save the time, but it was really been an honor to work with all of you. This was really a team effort, but most of all, I want to thank President Trump for accomplishing what nobody thought was possible, and it's true that just earlier this week, the media was reporting that this bill was dead. This bill was dead, and then the media didn't know one thing, that we had a secret weapon. We have a deal maker in chief. And thanks to President Trump, he stepped in and saved this bill. And it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
There you have it. Leadership, leading from the front, leading by example. There you have it. Well, here is Secretary Treasury Bessent, maybe I've been saying his name wrong, and God forget it. I'm sorry, you're doing a great job. There's a night and day difference between Janet Yellen and Scott Bessent. So let's take a listen to what he's got to say about this historic moment for United States.
Today marks a seminal moment for digital assets and global dollar dominance, with President Trump signing the Genius Act into law. This bill provides the fast-growing stablecoin market with the regulatory clarity it needs to grow into a trillion-dollar industry. Stablecoins represent a revolution in digital finance. The dollar now has an internet-native payment rail that is fast, frictionless, and free of middlemen.
That's interesting. What is that payment rail? XRP Ledger, maybe?
This groundbreaking technology will buttress the dollar status as a global reserve currency, expand access to the dollar economy for billions across the globe, and lead to a surge in demand for U.S. Treasuries, which back stablecoins. The Genius Act is a win-win-win for everyone involved: stablecoin users, stablecoin issuers, and the U.S. Treasury Department. I want to thank President Trump for his visionary leadership in shepherding this bill into law, and Congress for rapidly advancing this critical legislation.
No doubt about it. Now, let me just cut in right here. You're hearing the importance be delivered in the messaging from David Sachs, President Trump, and now the U.S. Treasury Secretary. You know, and what are they all talking about? They're talking about the payment system, the rails, a new infrastructure. Really? I thought we were just talking about stable coins and tokenization. Well, we know better. See, this is where I have it. With the signing of the Genius Act into law, not only is the United States going to lead the global digital currency revolution, the United States has just initiated the first big step in establishing a new Bretton Woods. You know, those new private issuers that of stablecoins will be holding all these new treasury bonds, which will be able to relieve the petrodollar agreement and our reliance on other countries holding our bonds to elevate the dollar as a global reserve currency, which they don't like doing. Well, once we get this in place, it won't be a reliance on other countries and, in some cases, adversaries holding our bonds like China, right? So the reality is that this is the move, and it is all tied together. This isn't just about stable coins. This is why we keep saying this is about the dominance of the U.S. dollar for the next 150 to 300 years in the new digital on-chain economy. Make no mistake about it. And then here we have Bo Hines talking about welcome home. Bo Hines' message to crypto firms that moved overseas, and it's a spot on. The new frontier of crypto is the United States of America. Innovators, it's time to come home. Welcome home. It is time to come back to the United States. No longer is it the Biden administration and the Gary Gensler regulation by enforcement. It's over and you can come home. Ripple at the White House during the ceremony. Shout out to Stuart Alderati. Yeah. And you know what? This is how I saw that. Ripple there representing the signing representing the new financial system as this Genius Act becomes law. Because we did hear them talk about rails, the rails. We have a new rails. Well, who's the rails? Who is the rails? What is this new system that is not antiquated and certainly not vulnerable, but efficient, scalable? Right? What is this new system? Well, don't forget, Ripple is in that 120-day window where we're waiting for that banking license and that Federal Reserve master account. So, tick-tock, tick-tock. And just as that is happening, Real USD just happens to rank #1 in stablecoins against all others. Tether got a D, as in Delta, as in almost failing. USDC got a B. RLUSD ranks #1 with an A rating by Blue Chip, independent stablecoin rating agency. This is not an accident, ladies and gentlemen. They've been holding Real USD back for that clear transparency and compliance. It's above the rest. It could not have been compromised at this point because of the way they've handled it, setting it up to roll out with the legislation itself. This is going to attract the institutions, I believe, to the level of trillions and trillions of dollars because of the way they've reserved their motion and their plan to execute as legislation becomes law. This is absolutely timed at my house. And what else do we see? Kraken CEO says, watch out, here comes the world.
Well, this is actually, from our standpoint, me personally, one of the biggest benefits of this. This brings about more clarity, so now we can have many more businesses that previously were uncertain, unsure about what the regulatory environment was, to move into the cryptocurrency industry. I've actually personally met with nearly every executive team of all of the traditional financial services firms, all the big banks, all the big brokers. They have teams that are getting ready to bring crypto to their customers.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? Brian Armstrong from Coinbase says the exact same thing. Here comes the rest of the financial world.
We're going to see the Fortune 500 really start to adopt stablecoins. We've started to see this a little bit already, even with the news that this was, going to pass in the near future. Coinbase just launched an integration with Shopify, for instance, and we've seen announcements from Walmart and Amazon, and almost every Fortune 500 company is now coming in and starting to look at stablecoin payments. And so this is a big opportunity for us. It's a TAM expansion for our business, and we think that we can provide these wallets and payment APIs for really, the whole financial system and every company eventually.
There you have it. The banks are coming. Everyone's coming, ladies and gentlemen. Like Bank of America, they've already announced that they're going to be bringing a stable coin to market and other crypto services. Who was it who said that banks weren't going to offer crypto services? Oh, brother. Not to mention the fact that what just got passed from legislation into law, the Genius Act that is now Genius Law, seems to be tailor-made for XRP. Well, take a listen here from Bankxchange. The recently proposed Genius Act here now gaining traction. Well, it's not gaining traction. It's in the law. We know that the encouragement of blockchain use in remittance, treasury payments, and public benefit disbursement pilot program for tokenized asset infrastructure of federal agencies, tax exempt for certain digital assets tied to government-aligned chains. Why XRP fits the Genius Act like a glove. While the bill doesn't name any specific blockchain or token, the XRP ledger matches nearly every outlined technical strategic criterion. Speed and finality. Genius Act emphasizes the need for instant low-cost settlement layers, precisely what XRP offers within 3 to 5 second settlement times. XRP far outpaces traditional ACH, SWIFT, and even the most stable coin transfers on Ethereum and Solana. It says energy efficiency. The act encourages eco-friendly blockchain infrastructure for federal use. XRP Ledger uses a consensus mechanism that consumes 0.0079 kilowatts per transaction compared to Bitcoin 707 kilowatts or Ethereum 62.56. And then here we have cross-border settlement treasury integration. The bill prioritizes remittance corridors, international treasury functions, and stablecoin interoperability, the very use cases Ripple has been developing with over 70 central banks with financial institutions worldwide. Ripple's on-demand liquidity ODL solution, powered by XRP, has already processed billions in cross-border volume, with usage exploding in the Asia-Pacific, MENA, and LATAM regions. Compliance institutional access. The Genius Act outlines regulated rails for enterprise and government use. Ripple's partnerships with banks and recent approvals for U.S. banking charter position it uniquely to offer compliant digital asset infrastructure. The tokenization program, which I've talked about a lot, the fact that Ripple is in a position to tokenize everything onto the ledger and then custody it. It's a key clause in the Genius Act proposes tokenizing public records, government benefits, and even treasuries, which is already happening with Ondo Finance on the XRP ledger. I just said the other day that that is the greatest endorsement from the United States government that the XRP ledger is trusted, and that it will be something that they're going to embrace deeply. This perfectly aligns with Ripple's recent moves in tokenization space, including August 1st launch, institutional tokenization on the XRP ledger via Bankxchange. So there you have it in the rest of the article. So you get it. That's why it fits, and that's why we're waiting to find out just how deeply we're involved. But when are we going to see the Clarity Act now that the Genius Act is in law?
Clarity started in the House, and so it has passed the House, and now it's going to the Senate. And they still have to do their hearings and markup on it. And we expect that'll happen over the next couple of months. In fact, the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Tim Scott, has said that he wants to finish with the market structure legislation by the end of September. So if all goes well, then we could be looking at a second bill signing in, say, October.
Now, I love this because I've had a private kind of vision here. The way I'm seeing this is that I've been seeing like a 2017, 2018 scenario lining up. If this is how the Clarity Act gets to us, which I think is the larger piece of legislation that's going to unlock so much liquidity from the financial system and on the legacy side of the fence here, if we're right, then we do have a chance to see all of this unfold in that timeline. I think we see a 2017, 2018 super cycle explosion at the end of the year, sometime after October through and into the new year, should this unfold this way. Because I liken these two bills as the Telecommunication Act of 1996 with the internet, that they can have the same impact that ignited the dot-com era boom, but for crypto this time. Meanwhile, Crypto Wizard says we screamed for 365, we got it. They screamed for 280, got it too. He says now XRP is up 74.64%. And he says here, and only one line stands between $4.50. Once 365 breaks, the next move begins. See you at 450, he says. So shout out to Crypto Wizard for that. And we know 365 was a key moment that Eggrag Crypto highlighted as well. And I don't know this top trader, Tony Servino, but he says prepare, and he gives a target here of $12 plus and 1,900% move from earlier price levels. He noted that the similarities to past cycles, especially 2017 run, where XRP's parabolic rise occurred over just 42 days. And some say even less days than that, 26 in fact. So we'll see. But, you know, just to take us out here is Eggrag Crypto, who's given us a look at this chart many, many times and where his predictions are. And he has it between 1250 and 3429. So this is the window. And he honestly does not know. He's told us, honestly, I do not know, but this is what the chart is showing. And we had the other persons show a $12 figure as well. So at the very least, they're all lining with seeing at least a $12 breakout, but there is potential for so much more. Listen, that's going to do it for me, so I'm going to wrap it right there. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We've made history, and we're just beginning, and we're going to make a whole lot more before it's all over. And I think price is going to take care of itself as long as we keep making crypto history and sign these bills into law. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.